The number of Americans filing claims for unemployment
Those
benefits
unemployment
has
numbers,
hit a record
indeed
high
staggering, likely mean many of you are trying to figure out how you'll make your rent payment in just a few days.
People who rented an apartment did not pay any of their rent during the first week of April.
My name is Alicia Moore, and I'm facing an eviction.
I'm a mother of 3, 2 are minor children, and I'm at risk of being evicted.
I'm Rashan Bird.
And I'm Omar Bird.
And we've been unlawfully evicted.
Over 2 million evictions are filed in America each year. Legal aid lawyers say the suits disproportionately target Black tenants, especially women. During the pandemic, some renters have been protected by the Federal CARES Act, but sorting out if it covers your home can be tough, especially for the 90% of tenants who face eviction without a lawyer.
Good morning.
When I first went into court, I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do. The reason why I've lost most of my income was because of the tornado. I drive Uber and Lyft. It started then.
The search is on for those still missing after the tornado outbreak in Tennessee that killed at least 24.
After the tornado, the coronavirus hit us. Nobody's going to work. You're not allowed to go anywhere. There's no tourists. So there's no income for me. I'm taking care of a 74-year-old sick lady, my mother. She's diabetic. She's had 2 surgeries. The slightest could take my mom out. The sheriff department delivered a notice to my door. My landlord wants us out of this property.
Tennessee is pretty disappointing on tenant protections. There is no legal defense to an eviction if you haven't paid your rent. Something of an eviction moratorium was in effect until June 1st, and then the most recent order from the Supreme Court in late May basically said business is normal other than the protections in the CARES Act. A lot of people don't really know even that the law was passed, much less exactly what's in it.
I am not sure if my home is under the CARES Act. I do not know how to find out the information of. No, I don't. I was trying to get in contact with legal aid, but the legal aid system was so bombarded that it crashed. You would call and they'd tell you to hold on, and you'd hold on for the music, and then it'd ring, and then you get disconnected.
Especially in the transition to working from home, we've run into some issues with our phone system. Our Nashville housing team is 3 people. There just aren't enough hours in the day for us to represent every tenant in Nashville who's facing an eviction.
Alicia was told to return to court July 2nd. While leaving, she asked Carrie for legal advice.
If at all possible, get out before July 2nd.
The advice I was given was I need to try to find somewhere else to live in.
She's living in a single-family home, which may fall under the CARES Act if it has a federally backed mortgage. It would be virtually impossible for her to figure that out on her own, but doesn't change the fact that she has no legal defense on the issue of possession and will have to move eventually.
Over 2/3 of American renters aren't covered by the CARES Act. Their only help came from state moratoria, which most states implemented in some form by mid-May. But by the end of June, more than half those measures had expired. And in states like Ohio, no one ever ordered a blanket eviction ban.
I'm a student service assistant. I love my job. I love working with children. When everything was mandated to close, we were closed. We stopped getting paid in April. I still pay market rent, and with the landlord that I have, I've been here for 13 years and I've never missed a payment. I've always been on time with my house payments, and they were not willing to work with me. When June came around, I was 3 months behind.
It's likely that someone like her would get evicted because we don't have a pay-to-stay law in Ohio. Once the rent is late, a landlord is allowed to refuse all the rent that's owed and still evict the person. Unfortunately, a lot of landlords will do that. We have a very tight rental market here. They can easily re-rent the apartment.
I received a demand letter and it was just shoved in my door. They didn't even take the time to put a postage stamp on it. You might as well have said that you were going to evict me because they wanted payment and they gave a date that they wanted to have the payment. It sent, the words are undescribable of how I really felt.
We did not have a statewide moratorium on evictions in Ohio. Hamilton County, I think, did a good job of postponing evictions for several weeks to try and work out the social distancing issues, and that gave my office some time to try and raise some funds for eviction preventions. This will prevent the mom and pop landlords from not being able to pay their mortgages. We have said, listen, we're going to come up with emergency funds that'll be paid on behalf of your tenants, but will go to you.
I reached out to a couple of agencies, and then I reached out to legal aid. I was placed on a waiting list.
Without rental assistance, what were you planning to do?
I have no idea.
What we're seeing now with the COVID crisis are cases that are strictly about non-payment of rent, and that oftentimes can be fixed for a relatively small amount of money. The problem is that we stopped taking new applications for rental assistance a week and a half ago because we had enough people in our pipeline that we knew we had basically spent all the money we had. But there's going to be a lot of folks, in the next couple of weeks who are calling us who we may not have any assistance for.
More assistance could come through the HEROES Act, a House bill the Senate has yet to take up.
To prevent a housing crisis, we are deploying new funds worth nearly $200 billion.
The bill also includes a year-long national eviction moratorium. But even blanket bans aren't stopping some landlords from taking matters into their own hands.
The locks have been changed. I cannot go put my front door key in and turn the lock. How are we giving out rules to say you can't do this, you can't do that, and then they're doing it anyway, and then there's no answer for it?
In the state of New Jersey, a landlord has to take a tenant to court in order to legally evict the tenant. 9 out of 10 tenants went to court in the county of Essex, right here at this court that's behind me, unrepresented by an attorney. The point of the Office of Tenant Legal Services is to level the playing field. In mid-March, Governor Murphy instituted a moratorium on evictions and foreclosures. One of the reasons why is because of the health hazards that come with homelessness. No tenant can be locked out of their home through an eviction until the moratorium is lifted.
We've been together for as long as we've been together. This ain't the first hard time we've been through.
If it wasn't for COVID-19, I still would have been working and I would have been able to pay my rent because I worked on an assembly line. You're literally not even this far away from their next person.
And the rent at that time was $400. I might have owed him another $200, so I gave him $600 out of my stimulus check in March. After that, there's no more money right now. Like, no one's going to work. Sunday comes around, my sister is driving us home. She was like, what's wrong with your doorknob? Because she know the old doorknob, you can tell it's been turned, so it's dull, it ain't shiny no more. This lock was shining all the way from the door to the curb. Walked up, put my key in, and the key ain't going in. My neighbor, he opened the door for me. When I go in, now I found all my stuff stolen. And that blue bucket right there has all the pictures, the family, all that was ripped down.
I get a frantic call telling me that they were locked out of their apartment and that their possessions had been stolen. I prepared their order to show cause application, their lawsuit against the landlord for illegally evicting them. Illegal evictions happen way more frequently than most of us realize. For the Birds, everything has to be handled remotely because the courts are shut down right now. If you don't have access to a computer or internet, how do tenants who don't have access to the technology have access to justice?
The Birds' former landlord did not respond to requests for comment. While their case progresses, they moved in with family.
It's a one-bedroom apartment. My mother-in-law and me and my wife.
It's tight, but I mean, we make it do.
For justice, an answer to her problems only leads to new questions.
I received tremendous news. I was approved for the rental assistance. With my gratitude, I also have to wonder what's going to happen next. I'm worried about August. Are we going back to school? Will we start getting paid?
In Nashville, Alicia and her mom found a new place to live.
It's going to be home for right now, but it's not really a safe place. It's in the back of an alley. We had to take what we could get because there's nothing out here we can afford.
But they didn't clear out their old house in time. At the July 2nd hearing, the judge ordered them evicted. They owed $2,200 in unpaid rent.
I was on my own. All she wanted to hear was, is this his property? Yes, ma'am. She said, after 10 days, Sheriff's Department will be there to bring your stuff out of the house. Do you understand, Miss Moore? I said, yes, Your Honor, I understand.